Welcome to Your Next Mission podcast with the 12th Sergeant Major of the Army and co-founder of the American Freedom Foundation, Jack L. Tilley. Proudly presented by Cavalry Agency, Navy Federal Credit Union, Purdue University Global, and Veterans United Home Loans.
Hello out there, warriors, past and present, and your families. I want to start the show out like every week. I just want to thank you for what you've done and what you continue to do for this great country. God bless you. I know the kind of sacrifices you make, and so keep up the good work. And again, thank you for what you're doing. Welcome to Season 3 of Your Next Mission video podcast, a program initiative of the American Freedom Foundation. I'm Jack L. Tilley, 12th Sergeant Major Army. I always love to say that because I'm pumped up and your host. But before we get started, I personally want to thank our presenting sponsors, Cavalry Agency, Navy Federal Credit Union, Purdue University Global, and Veterans United Home Loans for their generous support in making Your Next Mission happen. They love our veterans and families, and I'm going to say it every week, we love them too. We have a great show for you today. We're going to be focusing on Veterans Affairs, and I'm so excited. I'm really pumped up. Only time I talk to an Army soldier, I'm pumped up. I'm excited to introduce Master Sergeant Retired Terrence L. Hayes, U.S. Army Press Secretary with the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Welcome. So excited to have you on the show.
Sergeant Major, thank you for having me. I'm super pumped up to join your program today and just have a chat with you.
Hey, I always like somebody that's pumped up because it really what it does, it motivates me all the way through here. Hey, we have a lot to cover today, but before we do that, could you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yes, Sergeant Major. I'm a fellow Army warrior as yourself. I served in the United States Army for 20 years and one day, the mandatory minimum.
Wait a minute, I got to tell you now. I said it a minute ago. Anybody less than 20, 36, 20, quitter, go ahead.
Hey, I thank you for that. No, but again, I served in the world's greatest army and with some amazing teammates. And I did public affairs for my entire career, deployed to Iraq from December of 2006 to March of 2008. Was there during some really difficult, challenging times, but we were running public affairs for, the entire theater. So again, it was a great opportunity to deploy my soldiers there, brought them back exactly how they left. Yeah. So I'm very proud of that. Yeah. But I learned a lot by serving alongside my many teammates in theater and carried that back for the rest of my career. So again, humbled to have joined my Sergeant Major of the Army at one point. And thanks again for having me, Sergeant Major.
Hey, now, it's really great that you talk about the team. I always tell people it's about the team. It's about the family. It's about all the guys and gals that we work with throughout our time in the military. So it's good you talk about it. Hey, it seems we're finally coming out of this COVID-19 pandemic, which has certainly been challenging for all of us. But the VA, how did the VA deliver, health care to all those veterans out there? I'm sure that was really challenging.
Yes, Sergeant Major, that's a great question. And I want to give a huge shout out to our amazing clinician teams across the country serving at our VA medical centers. These men and women selflessly serve in these capacities. And I say selflessly because, they can serve anywhere else in the private sector or some of these other hospitals and get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars more. But they choose to serve our fellow veterans because of the mission and because of the sacrifices that our veterans have given for our country. So that's the first thing I want to do. Second thing is that, yes, it was a challenge without question. These men and women continue to put themselves in harm's way under the COVID-19, circumstances by providing world-class healthcare to our veterans when they needed it. At no point did our VA medical centers shut down at all, full stop. So folks were still able to come in and receive these services that they needed. Now, routine appointments and things of that nature did have to be rescheduled at some point in the beginning phases of the pandemic, but we were able to basically follow back up with all of those veterans. Every veteran who had to reschedule or cancel an appointment, there was follow-up, and those individuals were able to seek the services that they required. So we're very proud of that. But again, it was a challenging time without question, unprecedented time for us as a department. And when you have the largest integrated healthcare system in the country, and our clinicians stepped up to the plate and was able to hit home runs each and every day to ensure that our veterans receive the services that they required, I have to salute them without question.
Yeah, I think one of the things for me personally, I did a lot of Zoom meetings. If I had an appointment and I'd take a blood test or whatever, but the doctor would come on Zoom, and if it was something we just talk about and give me some recommendations. So I think during that period of time we did a lot of Zoom, which was really pretty beneficial. The other thing I'll tell you is a few years ago, they come out with this thing about they wanted you to sort of move out of TRICARE and go and use different facilities, which I absolutely hated. But so I started doing that, and one of the things I did, I went to the VA, and I really had I thought, I don't know if this is going to be good or not. Once I went to the VA, I got to tell you, they treated me like a king. I mean, and I treat everybody that way. And so you hear challenges.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, Sergeant Major.
Well, I mean,
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. In fact, I don't know if you know Todd Hunter, but Todd and me have been friends for years. But I sent Todd a note and said, "Man, this is unbelievable." The kind of stuff they're doing. Hey, one of the greatest challenges really is homelessness now, and I tell you, it really hits hard with it when it comes to veterans homelessness. What's the homelessness? What's the VA doing about that? I mean, every time I turn around, I see there's a lot of people out there that are struggling, and I know a lot of them because they suffer from post-traumatic stress, TBI, those mental issues. But there's a lot of veterans out there. What's the VA doing about that? Are they doing?
Sergeant Major. Yes, Sergeant Major, it's a challenge. And it's not just a challenge within, VA. This is a challenge within our country, homelessness in itself. And what VA is doing right now, we're partnering with, several folks across the country to tackle this issue of veteran homelessness.
Yeah.
Give you an example. We have a large population of homeless veterans in Los Angeles. At one point,
living right in front of the VA hospital. Because somebody told me, they're living right in front of yeah.
Exactly. There was an area called Veterans Row, right directly in front of the campus in a pretty prominent area of the country known as Brentwood. And we had about 42 homeless veterans in tents residing on this one street. The secretary came on board in February of 2021, visited Veterans Row in August for the very first time, walked the entire road, chatted with every single one of those veterans to, one, hear their stories and figure out how they ended up on the streets on Veterans Row. Number two, to figure out how we could correct that situation. He brought that back to DC. And within a week, we had a strategy in place to get those homeless veterans, all 42 of those veterans, onto our West LA campus. It was done. We got all of those individuals into temporary housing on the campus. And then not only in the temporary housing, but we immediately got them into the services that they required to ensure that we can keep them off the streets. And now many of them are in what's called tiny homes, which are now kind of like your permanent shelters on the campus still, going through the services that they require to ensure that they remain in homes. We don't want them to return back to a homeless status. So what we're doing is we're hoping that using this strategy in Los Angeles, where we have the largest population of homeless veterans, we're hoping to use this same model in various cities across the country, DC, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Dallas, you name it, and hopefully institute this same process to get as many homeless veterans off the street and into permanent housing and into the resources that they require. Again, it's a tall task, but the secretary has stated that, we have a goal of basically removing 38,000 homeless veterans off the street by the end of this year.
Oh, wow. That's a big number.
We're beyond half of that number now. I think we're into about 20,000 or so who have been, placed into some sort of temporary or permanent housing at this moment. So again, we have a lot of work to do leading into December 31st. And we're engaged and we're ready to tackle it. But we're working hand in hand with our partners across the country to ensure that we do this for our homeless veterans.
Yeah, is that the number you have? Is 38,000? Is that the actual number that you there? Is it more than that that's out there?
Yeah, it's a little more than that that's out there. But again, what we want to do is try to reach a number that we believe is achievable. It's still a tall task to reach 38,000.
Oh, yeah.
But again, I think we're going to achieve that. And we're going to achieve that with the help of our many partners across the country to get us to do that.
Yeah, here's for me personally, here's one of the things. We've ignored that issue for such a long time. And I think you really break it down into, I said it a minute ago, post-traumatic stress, mental illness, and I got to be at drugs, pharmaceutical drugs or drugs. And then some of them just never have fit back into society. And so I hope what doesn't happen, sometimes we have a short time fix that doesn't work. You have to have a long time adjustment. Right. So it's not about today, it's about 20 years down the road. So how do we put these guys back, or guys and gals, back into a program that either educates them or trains them for a skill or whatever they got to do, so they're not out there all the time. But again, it's, with the veteran community is rough, but when you look at nationally, the problem we have, and we can't keep ignoring the issue. It's not going to go away. And I think even with some of the things we're doing right now, we're really making it worse because we're allowing more people to come into the country. That's a different issue, but we'll have the same issue. And we got to be careful about that. You can't ignore it. You got to
Sergeant Major, to kind of jump on that, Sergeant Major. Again, we want to ensure that these folks don't return to a homeless status.
Absolutely.
And as you stated, it takes those services. Yeah. It takes that, abuse counseling. It takes that rehabilitation. It takes that, job, counseling to help them in their employment status. It takes a lot of different various resources to help, get these individuals to a status that they don't return to that homelessness. And that's what's going to really generate that long-term gain for them. Yeah. And we're making strides in that.
Well, I think the other thing too is you got to make sure that I always say a sergeant can do anything, right? And I think what you got to do is sometimes you need somebody that speaks the same language. I know when you look at the VA, everybody's not a veteran. But when you look at the VA, if you got more veterans that are helping homeless veterans, there's a better. I tell this story all the time. There was a guy in the Pentagon one time that was legally blind, and he was a special ops guy. He was a special ops guy. Got shot in the head twice. And I went in there, and they're teaching him computer stuff, and the lady pointed out, said, "This guy here, he won't really talk to anybody." So of course I'm going to go over there and try to talk to him. So I went over and started talking to him. He talked to me like we'd known each other for years. And when I walked out, she says, "How did you get into the talk?" I said, "I'm a soldier." That's the bottom line. Soldiers will talk to soldiers to try to work those issues. Hey, one of the other things it's tough for all of us is just the amount of suicides. I've heard different numbers, 17, 22, and more than that. What's the VA doing to fight that? I mean, that's just a tough issue. And I know it's hard because there's a lot of depression for people that come either out of combat or out of the service that struggle. What are you guys doing about that?
Sergeant Major, you're absolutely right. Suicide is a real concern in this country as a whole. And as a veteran myself, it's a concern for my veterans, my fellow battle buddies. So I can report that over the past 2 years, and how we report is that, and our annual report actually just hit the street this past week. For 2019, the numbers declined by 307. Yeah. For 2020, the numbers declined again by 348. So there is a decline. But again, we have not arrived. And I want to make that perfectly clear. Just because there continues to be a decline over the past 2 years doesn't mean that progress has totally been made. Yeah. By no means. Yeah. We want to get to zero. That is the end goal, to get to zero veteran suicides across the country. And we're going to continue to work diligently with our partners, which we have done very well. But again, until we get to that number zero, we are not where we need to be on this subject of veteran suicide.
Well, I think the conditions have changed. I mean, the environment changed. One is we're really no longer at a big war. We're not deploying as much as we was before. So everything's sort of slowing down. People are spending more time around. So it's less. One of the other things, we get off this subject, it's a great subject to talk about. One of the other things, I think the iPhone has caused us problems. People don't talk to each other anymore. Right. And so, and I always say this, probably some people don't like it, but I think because of war, we have, we don't have as much communications with the younger soldiers or older soldiers anymore like we did
Right.
before, and that's unfortunate. But they was focused on war. Again, I can tell you, I've had one young man years ago that when I was a brigade sergeant major, said that he wanted to commit suicide. So just like anybody else, I said, hey, give him to me and I'll take care of him. I'll talk to him. And I did. I talked to him every day. I let him be my driver as a brigade sergeant major, and we chit-chatted. And then one weekend they called me and says, hey, he tried it again. He hooked up something from this exhaust pipe into the car and tried to commit suicide. And I learned something from that. You may think that you have the skill sets to help people, but send them, like you said, send them to the right people to assist them. Not a professional counselor. I don't have that skill set, but I think it's important for. The other thing I think we got to do too is we just have to listen to people more. We're too often people will talk to you and then they'll turn the other way and they won't listen to your conversation. If a soldier that you're talking to has something to say, listen. One of the keys to success, I think, for good leaders is effective communicator and a good listener. And if you listen, and no matter if it's important to you or not, but listen, and sometimes that's enough to sort of take that stress off them a little bit. So I think it's anyway. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Sergeant Major. One of the things that I think that we can all do better at, and just focus on being in the military, is that we got to return to an era where we walk the barracks.
Yeah.
We know what our soldiers are doing. We're interested in their lives outside of when they take the uniform off. Yeah. And we know what problems they may have in their lives. So and we have to do it in the veteran ranks as well.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I'm very proud of when it comes to something that we've been able to institute, and it's the 988 hotline.
Yeah.
Previously, folks would have to, with the Veterans Crisis Line, you'd have to learn this long 10-digit number.
Yeah.
But when you're in the middle of a crisis, you're not focused on, okay, what number do I need to dial? How do I handle this situation?
Yeah.
Now with the implementation of dialing 988, and then you simply, as soon as you get the line, you press the number 1, veterans, service members, families immediately receive access to a live person within 9 seconds and able to receive whatever services that they require, whether that's mental health services, whether that's financial counseling, whatever it is that they require. But you simply call 988, dial 1, and you'll receive the services that you need within seconds.
Yeah, you hit a lot of great points. I'll probably remember all of them there, but one is that 988 is really hit 1 after 988 hit 1. Don't forget that, guys, who were listening there. The second thing is you talked about old way of dealing with people, walking through the barracks. That's how I grew up in the Army. Every weekend I was in the barracks, I was talking to soldiers, seeing what's going on, and they would tell me all sorts of stuff, to be honest with you. But they was honest with me because they knew I was real. And I think sometimes we reach a point where we're promoted and our head swells up, or even in civilian life, your head swells, said, hey, look at me. It's not about you, it's about us. It's about how do we build a better lifestyle for all of us, And in fact, one last thing, this is such a great subject for me. One last thing, I did a show, I don't know if you know Vince Patton and Al McMichael, Sergeant Major Marine Corps and Chief Master Sergeant of the Coast Guard. So we're talking about something, and can't remember what the conversation was, but I said, not one time did I ask what color somebody was to my left or right. I don't care. We're all soldiers, we're all Americans, and we're all on this earth to help each other out. And so
exactly,
I think we got to do the right thing. And I think sometimes just, life is such a way. I mean, we was talking about today about what term you want to be called or whatever. And I said, hey, look, I'm old. Merry Christmas. You know what I'm saying?
No, Major, you're not old now. You're not old. Hey,
well, I'm getting a little old. But the fact
you
of
can
the matter
still go. You can still go if we need you to.
Well, I'm here. I'm sorry. But the fact of the matter is, do what's right for you.
Exactly.
And help people the way you want to be, or treat people the way you want to be treated. And I think sometimes we get off balance with that a little bit. We're talking about, I don't dislike or like or whatever. We're all here on this earth. God put us all on this earth to do one thing, and that's work together and make it a better place. So I just love the act, and I love.
Yeah, I love that. Like, I mean, that's the number one. That's the number one concept I live by, Sergeant Major, is treat others as I want to be treated, and if you could do that, if you could love everybody, I love you, Sergeant Major. I love, my fellow battle buddies on my left and right. It doesn't matter where you come from or, what religion you may be or the background you may have or the education or financial status. If we just treat everybody the same way, with that same love, I think we'll be in a better position.
I told her I love you, but I'm not going to give you no money.
There you go.
Hey. We're talking with Master Sergeant. He's making me laugh right. We're talking with Master Sergeant Terrence Hayes, Press Secretary at the U.S. Army Department of Veterans Affairs. And what a great guy he is. And you're listening to Your Next Mission Video Podcast with me, your host, 12th Sergeant Major of the Army, Jack L. Tilley. And don't forget, if you're enjoying this discussion, and I know that you are, because we're helping veterans. We're talking about how do we make veterans really safer? How do we work some of the issues? We gotta help each other out, but we gotta join the team. Please like us and hit on that subscribe button below here and join the team. I want a team. I want a bunch of Master Sergeant Hayes out there and a bunch of soldiers. This is a great subject, right? Getting disability claims process has been a major undertaking for a lot of veterans. I can tell you war stories about mine here in a minute. But I know we're experiencing a lot of frustration. Where does we stand now with that VA claim stuff? I know it used to be a big backlog. Is it still there?
Yeah, so Sergeant Major, we're working diligently every single day when it comes to the disability claims backlog. Each month over the past 6 months, that backlog has declined substantially. And it's because we've been able to deliver more disability benefits monthly than ever before. We've been able to hire additional personnel, highly trained folks to really get after this, situation. But the one thing that we want to leave folks with is this: while there is a disability claims backlog, and we know that, it's a tough thing for us to tackle until we get that number down to zero, we want to let everybody know that, hey, we're delivering more benefits to more veterans than ever before. So we don't want this disability claims backlog number to be a deterrent for any veteran seeking benefits, compensation, services, whatever the case may be, because you've earned that. So please file your claim today, and we're going to get to it in an exponentially fast way. So again, do not be deterred by a disability claims backlog. Yes, there is one. But again, we have highly trained individuals who are really working diligently, working hard. We have folks working overtime as well to get after this right now, to deliver on the benefits that you've earned and you deserve.
Yeah, somebody gave me a number here not too long ago. It said there's 17 to 20 million veterans. I don't know what the actual number is. 17 million to 20 million veterans. Right. And they also gave me, I can't remember the number, maybe you do, is that what percentage of people really use the VA? It's really not as big as I thought. Do you know what the number is?
Yeah, so I'll tell you this from a healthcare standpoint. From a healthcare standpoint, we track about 9 million veterans actually receive healthcare benefits or healthcare services from VA. Here's the thing: we want all 20 million plus to come to us in some form or fashion to receive, their healthcare. Not only that, if there's some sort of benefit that you really want, the housing benefit, you talk about your VA home loan. We want folks to take advantage of that. Education benefits, file today so you can get that education benefit and, help you in your pursuit of furthering your education. And then there's a whole host of other benefits, for other folks. So again, please take advantage of this. File your claim today. Do not be deterred by anything. And there's trained professionals out there who can help you navigate that system. And I really want folks to be, to leave with this, is that you don't necessarily have to find an attorney. We actually say this: you don't need to find an attorney. There's trained individuals at your local VSOs, your local veteran service organizations, your VFWs, your American Legions, your DAVs, trained free of charge to file your claim, serve as your proxy. You can notify them at any time. They can tell you the status of your claim. They can immediately look in the system, because guess what? VA provides the credential training to those individuals so they know how to navigate that system to the best of their ability to deliver those claims in a timely fashion, in an accurate fashion for you. So again, you don't necessarily have to find an attorney to make that stuff happen. Reach out to your local VSOs. You can file direct yourself. Visit va.gov
I know
for
everyone.
more
Now
information.
when you use acronyms, make sure you tell people what they are, VSO and all this stuff, so the audience knows what they are.
Yeah, veteran service organizations. Like I said, your Veterans of Foreign Wars, your American Legions, your Disabled American veterans. Those individuals, those service organizations have trained professionals to navigate this system for you. So again, please visit them. And again, if you want to do this yourself, by all means you can. Visit va.gov to find out more information on how you can file your claim today.
Yeah, you have a better system now in place. When I got out of the service, you just took your physical and then they'd send it to the VA or something, but they always said go to the VA. When I got out of the service, I got 8 or 9 zeros. Or I put 10 fingers up, but 10 zeros. And I said, really is sort of stupid on my part, but I said, I really don't want any disability.
Right.
And I sort of let it go. But after about 5 years, I said, well, I'd like to go and get some disability because to be honest with you, I want to be a service disabled veteran-owned company. Mm-hmm. And so I went back and applied, and they gave me 30%. I said, you've got to be kidding me. So I appealed the process, and then 2 years later, I got like 50 plus, and I appealed the process. So anyway, I'm still working on it. But I think the people that are listening, be persistent. About doing this, just because somebody said, and you got to make sure it's documented in your medical records, and you have some kind of a documentation. The other thing that you really hit on, I think is important, is not many veterans know about their benefits and entitlements. And I always tried to, while I was a sergeant major, I wanted to do a lot of things, but one of the things I want to do is put financial education into our schooling system. And the second thing I want to do, I said, when you come into the service, I want to start teaching you about benefits and entitlements all the way through. So you understand. Exactly. And then the other thing is your spouse, making sure your spouses really know more about your benefits than you do, because they're concerned about that stuff. But those are great questions. I appreciate all your comments and stuff. And if we're missing anything you want to add, please jump right on. I just love this discussion. Let's take a
again. I just want your viewers to find out as much information as possible. So I urge them to visit va.gov to find out the whole gamut of benefits that you may be eligible for. And again, to even possibly look into enrolling into the healthcare system as well.
Yeah. Well, the key to say is talk to other people. Talk to other veterans. A lot of times if we're bad mouthing something, it sort of gets around. But if something's good, tell people it's good. Tell them why it's good, and tell them how to work through the system. So I think we don't do enough of that. And the other thing I think, we go back to suicides, is we all should be reaching out to people we serve with and talking to them. I always call it like a buddy check. See how you're doing. So even if you call them up, last year we really focused on mental illness, but I had a couple of friends that committed suicide. One of them was a senior NCO that I'd known for years, and I always think to myself, if I would have actually called him and said something, would have made a difference. And the fact that matters, I hope it would have. Do I know? I don't know, but I feel bad for myself. I guess certainly feel bad for him because he's a wonderful person. But I wish, you make decisions in your life, sometimes good, sometimes bad. But I think I did something. I wish I would have done it. I wish I would have done better with that. So let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching your Next Mission video podcast.
You're watching Your Next Mission, proudly presented by the Cavalry Agency. They help brands dominate no matter their size. Ideas, strategy, action. This is Cavalry. Learn more at cavalry.com. Navy Federal Credit Union, the most trusted credit union owned by members of the military community, serving all branches of the armed forces and their families. Their members are the mission. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. Purdue Global, providing affordable online education for hardworking adults. Learn more about a personalized, innovative, and world-class education at PurdueGlobal.edu. Veterans United Home Loans, the #1 VA lender for 5 straight years. If you're buying, they're funding your dreams. Learn more at VeteransUnited.com. Now back to your host, the 12th Sergeant Major of the Army, Jack L. Tilley.
Welcome back. We're blessed to be here today with Master Sergeant, I want to make sure I get that right, retired Terrence L. Hayes, U.S. Army Press Secretary. And I'm so proud of him being a press secretary over there with the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. And I want all of our viewers to reach out to me directly. Tell us about your transition. Tell us what topics you want us to cover. And it's not my show, it's our show. Tell us what topics you want me to cover, want us to cover, because we want to make a difference. You can call or text me at 844-424-1134. And guess what? I'll actually reach back out to you. Or send me an email at SMA Tilley at yournextmission.org. Okay, let's pick it up where we left off. Master Sergeant Hayes, I want to make sure I say that. I want to get that right, because I respect,
I say who?
Who is it? I give a class up in Baltimore, and every time I talk to them, I get them, these are all civilians, I get them saying hua. So every time I go and see them, they hua, and they say, what's it mean? Everything. It means everything.
It means everything but no.
That's right. It means everything but no. Well, you can say, yeah, but there's different ways to say hua. Hua. Hey, we're heading into our final segment with you today. And I hope we've covered everything you want to cover, but I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have, because I just enjoy talking to people that care and just listen to you and listen to things that you talk about. I know you really care about our veteran community and their families. I just really have just a couple more questions. In preparation for this call, we talked about the legislation that directly going to affect all veterans, the PACT ACT. Can you tell the audience, what is the PACT? I'm not sure I fully understand.
Yeah, the PACT Act is one of the most historic, comprehensive pieces of legislation that impacts, veterans exposed to, military environmental exposures, toxins, burn pits, and it's named after Sergeant First Class Heath Robinson. Unfortunately, we lost Sergeant First Class Robinson at the age of 39.
Wow.
And it was because of, toxins. And this bill was named after him, and is now passed and signed by the president as of August the 10th. And now we have 23 new presumptive conditions effective as of August 10th that we're urging, encouraging, begging our veterans who may have these conditions to file claims today to get the benefits that they've earned. And we want them to get into our healthcare system too, to get the treatment that they require to help them navigate some of these conditions. But again, this is a very taxing piece of legislation that VA is taking on. We're in the process of hiring many more professionals, both on the benefits side and the healthcare side, to assist our veterans and our survivors as well, might I add. But again, this is long overdue.
Yeah.
And the interesting part about the 23 new presumptive conditions is that how the bill was initially written is that these conditions were to be phased in to law, whatever, over several years. The President Biden, Secretary McDonough of VA said, no, that's not good enough. These individuals need this now. And as of August 10th, all 23 presumptive conditions are in effect. So again, we're urging our veterans to file their claims today. The soonest that we can adjudicate the claims is January 1st. And I know folks are going to ask, well, why are you asking me to file my claim today when you can't adjudicate claims until January 1st? Well, there's several different measures that VA must take in order to get to the January 1st. We have to hire professionals more professionals, because we're going to take on more claims. So we need to hire these individuals in a timely fashion. Not only hire them, we have to train and educate them to ensure that they are prepared to adjudicate these claims properly the first time. Yeah. We want to get this right, absolutely right, the very first time for all of you. So we have to do that. We have some modernization going on with our IT systems as well to lead us into January. So again, there's several different steps leading into January to get that done. But again, it's important that all veterans file today, because if you file today, it will be backdated to August 10th. So again, when you're talking finances and things of that nature, there's a lot to go into this. So just because we adjudicate on January 1st, your claim will be backdated to August 10th of 2022. So again, it's important that folks take advantage of that. You can learn more at va.gov/PACT. That's PACT, va.gov/PACT to find out more information on how to file a claim or if you're eligible for these benefits.
Well, you answered one question I was going to ask you in a minute, how we implement the program. You just explained that to me. The other thing is that, Agent Orange, and you hit it on a lot of the stuff that blew up in Iraq and Afghanistan, all those other places, there was chemicals in there. And you had no earthly idea how to, I talked about it yesterday on the show, but we had a good friend, I won't mention his name, had a rash when he came back. He never could get rid of his rash. And he went to a series of doctors, VA and everything else, and couldn't get rid of the rash. So it's again, for the people that are listening, it's important that you go to the Veterans Administration, that you get some of these questions answered. And it's important that you use the VA and you apply for disability. And if you're having issues or having problems or whatever, and you need to talk to somebody, you have a lot of people that will assist you. And there's a lot of veterans out there. One of the things that you said, though, it's sort of sad. You said there's 9 million people that are using the Veterans Administration. I wish that number was, if we're saying 20 million, about 11 million short of what we're doing. But we need to figure out a better way. I always say we need to find out a better way to market our product, get the word out about the Veterans Administrator, what's going on. Hey, what focus we're heading into 2023? What's the focus? What are you going to change anything? Anything coming up?
Yes,
I'm just enjoy life.
Yeah, well, exactly. You got to enjoy every single day. Every single day is the greatest day of my life. I'm hoping it is for everybody else. But
absolutely.
But again, our main focus is to continue our push to encourage as many veterans as possible to file claims and to enter into the VA healthcare system. Yeah. Again, we want to take on every single veteran who has served his or her country, and we want to encourage them to do so. We want them also to understand that, your VA is not the VA of yesteryear. Yeah. So again, you may have heard things in the past of how VA is. We welcome you to come in, visit, please. By all means, chat with us, chat with our trained professionals, our clinicians, our benefits folks, to talk about, the things that you are eligible for. Just have that sit down chat with them, learn as much as you can to make the best decision for you. But that's our latest thing. We want to continue our push into the new year to encourage as many veterans as possible to join the VA healthcare system and to seek the benefits that they have earned and they deserve.
I think the other thing too is make sure you document this stuff in your medical records. One of the problems you have is when people get out of the service, it's not documented. And I remember I got hit with shrapnel in Vietnam years ago, and a piece of shrapnel caught my arm or something like that. Well, I never went to the medic. I didn't do anything. Right. I just put a Band-Aid on it and kept going. Because that's what most soldiers do. They don't, you fall down to get hurt. You just, it hurts a little bit, but I can keep pushing. Because you don't want to leave the team. You want to stay there right with them and keep pushing and doing what you're doing. So, that's important. So,
and that's vital. You bring up a valuable point, Sergeant Major. And I don't want to just talk to our veterans here. I want to talk to our men and women who are serving now.
Absolutely.
Because you bring up a valuable point. I'll give you an example, as you just touched on. For the first 15 years of my career, I was unfortunately had this mindset that sick call was for the weak. And I refused to go to sick call. I refused to get anything documented. Yeah. I put some duct tape on it, wrapped it up real good, and kept it moving. And I say this because, many of us have that mentality. And as you stated, if you don't have your ailments and your injuries documented in the back end of your career, it can hurt you. Yeah. Especially when you're talking about filing for these benefits and this compensation. So again, I want all of those individuals who are serving now, or men and women serving today, do not be afraid to get yourself checked out. Do not, be afraid to get the medical attention that you require. It's actually a sign of strength. It's going to help you be the best version of you for your battle buddy on your left and your battle buddy on your right. Yeah. And then not only that, on the back end, when it's time for you to, hang that uniform up, which we all have to do at some point, you're going to be taken care of on the back end. And that's our duty at the VA, is to take care of you the best way possible. But again, we need to ensure that you're taking care of yourself throughout that process, getting those items documented. So when it's time to file those claims, you have everything readily available to you, and it's a seamless transition over.
Yeah, it's and you're really right. You hit it on the head. A lot of times, and I did the same thing. I don't need to go and see a call. If you're a see call, you're sort of weak or whatever. I think maybe the younger generation may be a little bit different. I hope it is. But the older guys I work with was always doing that. I'm okay. I can make it through. So, and I think the other thing too is making sure our military family members, our spouses, understanding what the benefits are and what issues they have there. So it's so critical for them to understand. And again, not just medical, but housing, all the rest of the stuff that's in there. I just think it's important. I wish there was a better way. I wish there was a better way for the VA to get it. I know the VA can't really do a whole lot of marketing. We can't say a whole lot, but we're doing better. First of all, let me say it's great talking to you today. You're a wonderful person. You're a wonderful. I'm sure you're a wonderful soldier. I never met you in the military, but I'm sure you are. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to share with the audience? Anything maybe we missed? May want to get a website or a phone number in there again, but anything we missed?
Yeah, without question, Sergeant Major. Again, to any of our veterans, servicemen and women, families who may be facing any difficulties, challenges, crisis, dial that 988 number, 988, and press 1 to get the services you need. To those individuals who may have served in those areas I talked about, when it comes to PACT ACT, to our, Vietnam era veterans, this impacts you as well. Go to va.gov/PACT to find out more information on the eligibility for these benefits. Again, we encourage you, urge you, beg you to file your claims today. Come to us now to enroll in VA healthcare. We have some amazing clinicians, selfless clinicians ready to take on that task to deliver world-class healthcare and access to benefits to you. And we're looking forward to having you. So again, thank you, Sergeant Major, for having me today. It's a pleasure. You're a mentor of mine from afar, and I love this platform that you have that continues to educate and inform your public, our veterans, our servicemen and women, and I salute each of them for everything they continue to do for me, my family, and our country.
Let me ask you, is there any way you could just spread the word about this podcast, because you're going to be on the show and stuff, that spread the words to other VA veterans and stuff?
Without question, Sergeant Major. I encourage every single individual to watch the Your Next Mission podcast. Subscribe today. I'm a subscriber myself. I tune in because I want to see, the amazing guests that Sergeant Major has, because it's information for me. I get to continue to learn. I'm a lifelong learner. So the amazing guests you have on, Sergeant Major, are very great. And again, I encourage everybody to join. So I'm going to tell a friend who's going to tell a friend, and hopefully tells another friend. So thanks again, Sergeant Major.
Well, here's one for you. Get the Secretary of the VA to join. Get him up there. You talk to him all the time. Bam, get him up there. And all those deputies.
Will do. That's my next mission, is to get the secretary on Your Next Mission podcast, Sergeant Major.
Well, that's the way we help each other. So, there's a lot of people, I always tell people, there's a lot of people say, I'm going to thank you and all this other stuff. We're not saying thank you. We're going to do something about it, just like you guys are. So,
thank you.
God bless you. And thank you for what you're doing and continue to do. Thanks again to Master Sergeant Terrence Hayes, retired. I'm Jack Tilley, 12th Sergeant Major of the Army. You've been watching Your Next Mission video podcast, and thank you for watching today. If you didn't get anything out of this, something's wrong with you, because we've had a great discussion about our veteran community, about how do we help them with those kind of medical issues that we have. And I think sometimes people struggle and they don't want to do anything about it. They don't want to talk to anybody, but they want to help you. So reach out to them. Please visit us on our website at yournextmission.org and leave me a review. I always say, I hope it's a good review, but if it's not, okay, I got it. I can't satisfy everybody, but I'm going to do the best I can to make a difference. You can also visit our partners there, who will provide you with so many services that will assist you in your transition out of the military. And when you transition out, you may think it's easy, but it's challenging. Also visit our corporate partners there and see all the jobs that are available. Please know we want to assist you all the way, any way we can. I'm going to say that again, probably messed it up a little bit, but please know we want to assist you any way we can. Please follow me on all my personal media channels or pages. I get all messed up about that: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube and LinkedIn. Never thought I'd ever say anything like that. And if you'd enjoyed our discussion, I know that you did with Master Sergeant Hayes, please like us. Click on that subscribe button below. Don't forget, we want to hear from you. Please leave me a message or send me an email at SMA Tilley at yournextmission.org or text me at 844-424-1134. Thanks again to Master Sergeant Terrence Hayes, retired, for being with us today. It was just great having him on the show. And you can see by his discussion and his mannerism and everything else, he really cares about making a difference. And at each show at the very end, I get to, say some final thoughts to you. And I think today what I'm going to say is we're all part of a family. We all care about each other. We all want to help each other, but don't think you're alone. If you're homeless and you got an issue, there's also a veteran out there that'll help you, assist you in any way you can. If you're thinking about suicide, call somebody, talk to your family. Don't think that you're alone. Remember, we're all part of a team. We're all part of a family. We all want to make a difference. We live in a wonderful world. We have a lot of great people around us, but unfortunately, sometimes people struggle a little bit. Don't think that you're struggling by yourself. I'm here for you. Master Sergeant Hayes is here for you. We'll help you any way that we can. Again, thanks for watching. Thanks to Cloudcast Media and, of course, New Mind Studios and our 4 presenting sponsors, Cavalry Agency, Navy Federal Credit Union, Purdue University Global, and Veterans United Home Loans. We appreciate, not just me, we, all the military, we appreciate all you do for our military. And as always, see you on the high ground. Hoorah!
You've been listening to Your Next Mission, brought to you by the American Freedom Foundation. Learn more by visiting yournextmission.org.